An actor and juror judging a female circus performer on trial for murder is convinced he and the other jurors incorrectly found her guilty and sets out to rectify the situation himself in the 1930 Hitchcock thriller, Murder. And that's the movie we're dusting off this week on Movie Bones.
Is this woman a lodger of yours?
No, but Miss Baring is. And she had Mrs. Druce to supper with her tonight.
You always hated Edna. Thought yourself too good for us. With your high and mighty, ladylike ways.
Now, sir, pull yourself together.
I don't believe she could have done it. Though there's no denying, she is headstrong.
I should say so. Why, she gave in a notice the other day over Edna.
Who?
Miss Diana.
Yes.
But Druce didn't want to lose her. So Edna had been glad enough to see her go. Then suddenly last night, she changed. Asked if they couldn't make it up. Diana was puzzled, but asked her home to supper. Now, I can't help feeling now that she had some reason for getting Diana here alone. Of course, perhaps being hot stuff like she is, she thought that one of her men was getting too keen on Diana Baring and wanted her out of the way.
You know, Ryan, I'm starting to think Alfred Hitchcock's body of work, taken as a whole, just might be a little bit overrated. Today's movie is Murder from 1930. And there are times I think I was just sitting there watching this and asking myself, why am I watching this? There's a scene where there's a conversation between the authorities and an acting troupe that's constantly being interrupted when one of them goes off stage, has to go on stage, and another one comes off stage and that one starts talking. Or the scene where there's like a landlady that keeps interjecting about tea. And there's yet more. It's like there's one where he's in the bed and he's surrounded by a woman with a crying child and two very rather touchy-feely kids of hers that just kind of keep messing with him. Those are the most active parts in ways. Because so much of the rest of the movie is dull flat. Those actually stood out to me. And I'm like, why?
Well, for starters, you're going to find that Justin and I have a lot of the same feelings about this particular movie. You know, I remember making that joke the last episode at the very end of it. Maybe this will be the movie that turns around your feelings about Alfred Hitchcock. And that's not to say, I want to make this clear to you all out there. It's not to say that we dislike him. It's not to say that we don't appreciate what he did for the film industry. In fact, I'm going to talk about some good aspects of this movie here in a moment. But, I mean, as of right now, Justin's right. It's currently few and far between. I was trying to watch this movie. And I was thinking about a lot of things that we're going to get into. I will not lie. The only reason why I was giving this some of a pass was I was like, okay, it's the 30s. It's an early talkie. It's his third talkie. I get it, but
I know.
This was a hard watch. This movie sits at an hour and 49 minutes. And guess what, everybody? If you don't have action, the hour and 49 minutes feels like forever. Because you're just listening to people talk the whole entire time.
You see some early Alfred Hitchcock, isms in his visuals. And one of the things I noticed early on is there's this part in the courtroom scene where you've got the prosecution and the defense are going at it. And every time instead of just cutting from the prosecution to the defense, they cut to the jury who has to, in synchronicity, all turn their head to the other one and then back like it's a tennis match. And I thought, I've seen this before. Exactly where I've seen this before. Years later, Alfred Hitchcock will use the same thing in Strangers on a Train when in the tennis match. And it's at least in the tennis match, it made sense because, that's the thing that happens in tennis matches. But it's like, but think of that in the context of a courtroom case. I mean, it's almost like an Alfred Hitchcock stamp now. And there's so many visuals of his that look like little stamps of his. And I can see some of them developing. They're not as fully fleshed out here, but you said something in your review I do want to pick up as one of the positive things. It is shot, at least there are some early attempts at getting like developing the film logic of Alfred
Yeah.
Hitchcock. And that was one of the ways he was influential, I think, more visually than he was actually in his storytelling capacity. Makes me wish he was a cinematographer, really, instead of
Yeah, I mean,
director.
100%. Because, like, that was like, I'm sorry, I always forget the name of certain movies, but the war movie that we watched of his.
Foreign correspondent.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah,
Okay.
Foreign Correspondent. Like, one of the things about that movie that we harped on, was that the plane crash scene
Yeah.
in that. So, like, he does some really good stuff. Like, there is just some stunning shots, some camera tricks that he does
Yeah.
that are just really neat. He really tries to use, like, a good fade. And I thought the best performance in the movie, personally, was Nora Bayring. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought she was interesting. And one of the reasons why I thought she was interesting was because of, like, how she was presented on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Her body didn't give a lot of information, which I thought was actually really good. And then some of the shots, like, they were stunning. Like, the lighting was perfect. The way she looked was, like, perfect in those scenes.
Yeah.
Everything. So, like, she was my favorite part of the film. She was barely in the film, but she was my favorite part of the film.
I did like the way they kind of portrayed her in the beginning with like she's shell shocked from what she just was happening in front of her. I mean, now the circumstances around the murder itself, when everything's finally kind of laid out, kind of what happened, it's like, well, there's so much more I kind of would have wanted to know about how that set up, because, and this is going to unavoidably get to like the stuff that actually happens. It's not that really much of a murder mystery, really. Before long who the guy is. It's somewhere in the midway point. You kind of know it just takes forever to lure him in. That's the second part of the film, is just luring the bad guy in. And it's like, this guy, first of all, racism alert. The whole motivation was that? Yeah.
How much is that part? Like, it really, and again, like, before you finish that sentence, because I want you to, but that part alone, like, it threw me for a loop, because at first I didn't know what they were saying. Like, I was like, wait a minute, what? So I went and looked it up, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. I didn't have to look it up. I kind of intuited it when they mentioned half caste, which is, first of all, so super derogatory. And it's like, talk about making you feel like you're not human. But it's like, and the guy, so the whole motivation is that this guy is half black. We were talking about how it's like, this happened in, what was the one with the Chinese guy?
Son of Gods.
Son of the Gods. That's right. And we were talking about, this guy doesn't look at all Chinese. At least they did make an explanation for that. But in this case, it's the reverse problem, because here's a guy who says later on that his motivation is, being a half caste, trying to keep that secret. But how that played into like the whole meeting of the two women, like she was going to spill the beans to his girlfriend that he was a half caste, but at the same time, she already knew he was a half caste. She says that later on in the film, so he lets her take the rap and the fall for the murder, and only comes to the full realization of what he does, like at the end of the film, when he comes face to face with the guilt and he kills himself. It makes him the most despicable character, and of course, he's half black. So you cannot just disentangle it from everything else.
We oftentimes get into like the more practical, like if we see a movie that goes down a route that's not practical, we kind of tend to poke at the practicalness of it.
Yeah.
And I always feel a little bit bad about doing that. Well, it's a movie. You're supposed to suspend a little bit of disbelief. If this happened, the movie wouldn't take place.
Yeah.
But I have to wash that point away, because that was one of the things that annoyed me about her character, not her acting, but her character in this movie, was like when we get to that point where she's about to say what it is, like, it's like, oh, I have the secret, potentially a secret that could set her free, basically.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I'm going to sit on it. I'm like, you're in jail on death row. Like, I wouldn't be sitting on that secret. That's not something I'm sitting there going, you know what? I think I'll keep this one for another day. No, I'm immediately spilling the beans and 1930s racist England, apparently.
Yes.
But I mean, again, that's not a reason to accuse the guy of anything, and it's also not a reason a good reason, anyways. Oh, he's half black, so he's gonna murder someone. Like that's a ridiculous thing to, have in a story.
Yeah.
But this is based off a book adaptation, and I don't think Alfred Hitchcock was ever known to be particularly progressive.
No, actually, quite the
in
opposite in many ways.
Yeah. I will say, and then again, this does not make it any better. When they said the half caste thing, because the way they delivered that line, it's like, he asked her, he's like, were you in love with him? I could never be in love with him. It's not possible to be in love with him. And I was thinking, I'll be honest with you, I was like, oh, the guy's gay. Like that's what,
yeah.
that's what I was thinking we were going to get at there.
No, it's like, it would have been just bad if they tried to pigeon it for that just as much as it would be for being half black. It's like, it's just bad. Like, I don't know how juries in England work either, but it's like, I know that it's kind of disqualifying, I think, in America for a juror to have known the defendant personally. What was that about?
Absolutely. Well, the only thing that I could really kind of think of was like, England is kind of a small country. So I thought, okay, I can maybe get around that and everything.
Everyone knows each other.
Here's the problem with all of this. For starters, this is based off a book. The book is the book is called Sir John. It's got another part of the name to it, but I'm not really worried about that right now.
Enter Sir John or something like that, because he's an actor.
In the book, he is actually just an actor, and he does not get put on the jury. He goes and watches the trial. It makes him feel some type of way. He's like, oh, I'm gonna go solve this case because I don't believe that she's actually, the murderer.
Yeah.
Which is like fine. And like that was another big critique of this movie that I had. It's like
they introduced a problem.
They introduced the problem. They gave us the main character who's going to solve the problem. But the problem is like those two things don't actually connect. And again, I'm not joking with you guys when I say this. Well, he did kind of know them in that way. But to be honest with you, one of the biggest reasons why he goes on this quest is because he thinks she's attractive. I'm not making that up either. Like, he just finds her to be attractive, and he kind of all but says, she's too pretty. Actually, I think he actually does say that. He basically says,
she's too pretty.
She's too pretty to be a murderer.
I'm sorry.
That's never happened before.
No. Excuse me. It's like... Okay, that's just wrong. I know, and I forgot. I had totally forgotten that he said that. That's so awful.
That was like his main defense. And you've got people that are like,
if she had been ugly, it's like, whatever you get the chair, or in this case, the noose or whatever.
That's another giant critique I have. I'm like, I would have asked Hitchcock back in the day, why change it? Like, he has more of a connection to them just being an actor.
Yeah.
And not being a part of the jury. We don't really know anything about him other than he's on the jury until after that part of the trial. Like, he doesn't talk about, oh, I know them. And again, like, the only thing he really talks about with this girl is that, again, she's too pretty to have committed this murder.
This is abject shallowness.
Yeah.
It's like, if shallowness is your motivation, that's got to be called out.
But it's just much more, and it's also, again, it's just much more interesting. Like, he goes to the trial, he doesn't, like, he's not a part of the verdict at all, but he knows all of these people, and he doesn't believe that she's the one that did it. Even if you added the feelings to it, like, that would have been a much better story to tell, because like, it kind of makes him like, dude, if you don't believe that she did it, you should have just stood 10 toes down and never said guilty.
And that part too, I have something. There's something about that scene too. It was the most oddest thing, and I can't even put my finger on what Hitchcock was thinking by doing it. Whenever he raises an objection, whenever Sir John, raises an objection to this, they say, "What do you say to that, Sir John?" Is a chorus.
Yeah. So
can you answer that, Sir John? As a chorus. I said,
yeah.
Say that one more time. I'm going to shoot somebody. So help me.
There's a lot of, I think that's part of the experimental part of this that he's trying to do. I do see this movie as a big experiment in its own way. There are sometimes with certain movies that we've seen of Hitchcock, this now being one of them, Foreign Correspondence being another one, that I'm sitting there going, I don't think you care about the story all that much. I think you care about the shot. Because, like, early on, at the death scene, or not the death scene, but at the murder scene, like, if you look at that shot, again, for its time period, that's a beautiful shot because it has this, like, painting-esque to it. Like, where everyone's leaning in, you've got the mystery of it. It also has a very play feel to it.
Yeah.
And when I say play, like a stage play, that's another thing that was happening in that. Like, I was getting, like, feelings of stage play. So I feel like that's what he was trying to do there. Now, obviously, like, that's not something that happens the whole entire movie. There are certain scenes that if you go back and watch them, like, you look at them and go, that looks like a stage. That looks like an actual stage.
Yeah.
Like, if you were in the audience watching a play, that would be it. So, like again, I'm sitting there going, yeah, I mean, like, I like what I'm looking at. However, it doesn't really help the story.
No, it's different. And I can see where he, like you said, he's experimenting. He's coming off the silent film era where that kind of chorus thing might have been something that they would have done for emphasis and lacking sound. If he had been silent, maybe I would have understood it better. But when you add sound to it, it's so weird how the one little change like that makes something that would have seemed ordinary before it seem completely alien after it. Hitchcock is hit and miss in his drama for me, but the one thing he has consistently swung out every single time with me is whenever he tries humor. Whenever he actually intentionally tries to go for a laugh, it falls dead. It's actually anti-humor for me. It's actually, I feel hurt by his attempts at humors at times, which is why The Trouble with Harry, I think we're never going to actually watch, even if it comes up. Unless I feel particularly masochistic on a certain day. The Trouble with Harry is an actual full-on Hitchcock so-called comedy. And I've watched it once with my wife, and if I ever watch it again, I'm going to probably need a few drinks. So, but yeah, Hitchcock and humor and me don't get along. And this movie just keeps confirming that. Any case, it's boring, folks. So verdict time. I'll go first this time, I guess. This is just a 1-star film for me. There's the racism, which you might consider going all the way to, like Kill It with Fire, but it just wasn't as core to the whole proceeding. It was kind of thrown in at the end. I'm not going to say the whole movie was about that, although it is an extra rub of salt in the wound for those of us watching it. It's mostly it's just boring as paint drying. It's just don't. Your thoughts?
I'm right there with you. It's very much don't look at it. If you are going to look at it, like if you're a person that likes cinematography out there, this movie is something to view, but I'm going to give you a criteria to view this. I'm pretty sure you can watch this free in a lot of places. Like, if you have a place where you don't have ads, like if you got YouTube Premium, I think Wikipedia actually has the movie on there for free as well. Get on a computer or something that like has more controls to it. Scroll through the movie, find those scenes those shots I'm talking about, marvel at them, and then go about your day. It's you don't need to watch the movie. It's
no,
not
you don't.
Good. It's just so boring. Hey! I'll back up and say this. If you want to fall asleep, this is absolutely a Fortune and Glory type of movie.
It's white noise.
I say that because while I was doing my best to not fall asleep, my wife actually sat down to watch this movie with me. I look over like close into the movie, and she's like dead asleep on the couch.
Oh, wow. Hopefully a much better one coming up next week, I hope, at least. But
yeah, but don't look at this one. Don't look at this one, folks.
So anyway, at this time, Ryan and I like to remind our listeners out there that if you're having a good time with us, dusting off these old movies in search of celluloid treasure, please do like and subscribe and comment. And of course, follow us on your podcast purveyor of choice. Tell us what you think we got wrong. We're only human. And also tell us a few titles you'd like to see cover on future episodes, as long as they are available for free on sites like Tubi, because this adventure comes with no strings attached. And on the subject of future episodes, I am excited for this one. Well, at least I'm more excited than I was for the Hitchcock one, because the next director we have coming up is one we've watched many times on Movie Bones. Is probably one of our most popular I guess if you want to call it that, most viewed directors on Movie Bones. And he has never disappointed yet. I'm really hoping he continues, especially because he's paired with the actor that kind of everyone thinks of when they think of this guy. Tell the people what we're watching.
So, this is what Tubi says. A wealth executive's family becomes the target of a ruthless kidnapping in this riveting thriller, an incisive class commentary from the great director, Akira Kurosawa. This stars Toshiro Mifune. Names I am going to poorly pronounce, I'm sure. Tetsuya Nakadai, Kyoko Kagawa, and again, Tetsuya Mihashi. Next week's film is 1963, High and Low.
High and Low. I've never heard of this one. It looks like it's getting some at least good reviews, even though it's like all the other kind of a Kurosawa films that we've seen have been ones that float around in the ether. The names just kind of float around. This one I have never heard of, but it still seems to be at least highly reviewed. So we'll see how that goes. Hoping it's a nice reprieve from this week, and we all can come back next week and say, "Yay!" Oh, that made up for last week really good. I hope that's what I'm hoping for. So. Any case, that's all we got to say for this week, folks. Ryan, I guess I'll see you next week, and folks out there, we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, folks.
I'm sure I was right when I raised that point, and I feel more certain now. How did we know that someone else didn't drink the brandy? Perhaps there was someone else. That's the whole thing. Whoever drank that brandy.
Mr. Bennett has come up to see you, Sir John.